You are exhausted. Perhaps you can't pinpoint the reason yet. You sense it deeply. It feels as though you constantly bear an unseen burden, as if it were your duty to maintain harmony. You strive to prevent conflict, to always remain courteous, empathetic, and respectful. From a young age, you were taught that goodness was the right path, that good people ultimately triumph. That kindness invites kindness in return. That fairness, honesty, and humility are sufficient for the world to acknowledge your worth. Have you ever felt that your kindness was supposed to guarantee you respect? Comment 1 if you once believed the world rewards good people fairly. Comment 2 if you've already realized that isn't always true. But what if I said that this is nothing more than a lie, a convenient illusion instilled to make you compliant, foreseeable, and easy to control? How many times have you remained quiet just to preserve peace? How often have you diminished yourself to prevent letting someone down? How many times have you allowed others to misprista or exploit you while you still smiled? Repeated. It's all good and repressed. Your tears, rage, and dignity under the guise of virtue, a virtue that only caused you to be overlooked. Pay close attention. The world does not honor the overly kind, it rewards those who are strategic. If you are listening now, it is because you have personally experienced this. You have grown disheartened by always being the good friend, the accommodating one, the kind soul. And now you are beginning to see the pattern. The harder you strive for acceptance, the less respect you receive. The more you concede, the greater the demands. The more you give, the less appreciation you obtain. This is precisely where Machiavelli enters the picture. Contrary to his reputation as a figure of evil, he was perhaps the first to openly reveal the unvarnished truth about power. He grasped something most people still resist acknowledging, that absolute morality, when divorced from reality, becomes a snare. That appearing virtuous is not equivalent to being effective, just, or deserving. In this discussion, we will speak plainly, without disguises, about why you must stop striving to simply be the good person. And no, that does not mean turning into someone heartless or ruthless. It means awakening, emerging from the naive illusion that the world is fair and that virtue alone guarantees reward. We will lay bare the truth, however unsettling it may be. So long as you continue trying to satisfy everyone, you remain under their control, imprisoned by your own benevolence. And if you are weary of being exploited, dismissed, or discarded, then perhaps it is time to transform, to learn from Machiavelli what was never taught to you, and finally seize command of your own life. Are you prepared? Then let us begin. Do you still think the world appreciates good-hearted individuals? Just take a look around. Who are the ones admired the most? Who occupies positions of power and leadership? Who commands respect, influence, and visibility? Are they the most kind-hearted, empathetic, and fair? Or are they the most strategic, confident, and resistant to manipulation? The truth is harsh. Kindness does not rule the world. Usefulness does. Machiavelli grasped this reality hundreds of years ago. His intention with the prince was not to encourage cruelty, but to reveal how the game of power truly works. One of his most bitter lessons is this: being good alone is not sufficient. Often goodness is the fastest path to being cast aside. You might dedicate your life to being loyal, generous, and supportive. You might always give your all and assist others without seeking anything back. Yet the moment you no longer serve a purpose, you will be ignored, replaced, or dismissed. And worst of all, those who discard you will feel no remorse. The world does not evaluate your value through your ethics. Instead, it judges you by what you contribute, the power you hold, and the difference you make. Have you ever seen how the nice guys are constantly pursuing approval, justifying their actions, and proving their worth? In contrast, those who establish limits, who confidently say no, who show up with clarity, those are the ones who earn respect. They are heard. They hold their place. And why is that? Because kindness without discernment is perceived as frailty. Those who never challenge others pose no threat, and people who don't pose a threat are rarely treated with seriousness. They are treated as tools, not as people valued for their utility, not for their individuality. You can exhaust yourself trying to be liked, but unless you symbolize strength or consequence, others will have no qualms about exploiting you. It's a hard truth, but it's the truth nonetheless. Machiavelli stated that if a leader must choose, it is better to be feared than loved. What he meant is that genuine respect stems from being perceived as someone capable of taking action, someone who won't be walked over without consequences, someone who isn't just a dispensable part in another person's scheme. And this lesson applies to you as well. If you keep living just to be agreeable, you'll keep being viewed as disposable. Not because you lack goodness, but because the world offers no reward to those who make themselves invisible. There are times when you give your all, yet no one truly sees your value. Comment 1. If you have ever felt invisible because of being too kind, comment 2. If you have already learned to set boundaries to gain respect. It's time to uncover the source of this compulsive need to gain approval. Behind your kindness lies a deeper issue, something that may have been quietly undermining you for a long time. And that's exactly what we're about to explore. Now, in this next segment, we'll explore the psychological foundations of people who constantly seek to please others and uncover why what appears to be niceness is often simply fear in disguise. If you're finding this message meaningful, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to support the channel. Thank you. You didn't come into this world needing to please everyone. That behavior was taught to you, and more than that, it was conditioned into you. From an early age, you were taught that acceptance came with a cost, sacrificing parts of yourself. You learned to force smiles, suppress your desires, and silence your opinions, all for the sake of gaining approval. You heard things like, "Don't do that, it's ugly," "Be nice," or "Don't answer back, you're so polite." Gradually, you shaped yourself to match the expectations others placed on you. What no one warned you about is that constant people-pleasing is a form of emotional entrapment, a mental cage constructed with flattering words and punishments masquerading as good upbringing. You were taught that being pleasing earned love, but expressing anger, setting limits, or prioritizing yourself meant rejection. So, you did what any human being does to survive. You adapted. The issue is that this adaptation morphed into a state of submission. Now, you struggle to say no without guilt. You feel accountable for other people's well-being, even when it causes you internal damage. You feel frustrated, but remain silent. You experience disappointment, but forgive too easily. You drain yourself, trying to uphold a persona others want to see, not because it reflects who you truly are, but because it's what once made you feel safe. But here's the truth. This isn't kindness. It's fear. Fear of rejection. Fear of not being loved. Fear of being viewed as a bad person. Fear of embracing your true self, your desires, your anger, your limits, your voice. This fear has shaped you into someone who undermines their own well-being, hiding behind socially approved yet emotionally harmful habits. The saddest part is that you're not even aware you're doing it. You label it empathy, but it's actually fear of conflict. You call it understanding, but it's really fear of being left behind. You think it's kindness, but deep down, it's fear of inadequacy. Your kindness is actually a mask, an unconscious method to shield yourself from the sting of rejection. Yet this mask comes at a steep price. It smothers your true self, your strength, and your dignity. If you don't remove this mask, it will cling to you. It will become your entire identity. And someday, you'll look at yourself in the mirror and realize you no longer recognize who you are. But there is a path back, and to follow it, we must learn from someone who understood the significance of image perception and calculated strategy better than anyone else, Machiavelli. In the following section, we'll go directly to the core, what the prince can reveal about breaking free from the need to appear virtuous and instead earning genuine respect for our true selves. If you're living with the hope that people will admire your morality principles and integrity just because you're a good person, stop right now. More than 5 centuries ago, Machiavelli cautioned, "This path is beautiful, but dangerous. In the real world, it is not the good who win, it is the effective who win." And to succeed in life's arena, effectiveness demands strategy. It requires the awareness that people are not moved by your goodness. They are driven by self-interest, fear, and power. In The Prince, Machiavelli states, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, but few feel what you really are." That statement hits hard. It exposes the false belief that simply being genuine, pure, and authentic guarantees respect. The truth is, brutal people don't respond to your intentions. They respond to how you present yourself, your image, and the impression you make. You could be the most righteous person alive, but if you appear weak, that's how you'll be treated. You might have a deeply generous heart, but without commanding respect, you will be overlooked. This is why, the prince in this case, you must not be naive if you wish to take ownership of your life. You must know when to display virtue for effect and when to act with strategy when the situation demands it. Machiavelli teaches that a prince must master the dual nature of beasts, be a fox to detect traps and a lion to intimidate wolves. It's a brutally accurate metaphor. The fox symbolizes cleverness, the ability to spot unseen dangers and move quietly. The lion represents strength, dominance, and commanding presence. Machiavelli does not advise choosing one side exclusively. Instead, he insists on embodying both qualities. One must be perceptive enough to recognize manipulation and formidable enough to deter attempts against them. Respect, he argues, comes from a form of virtue, unlike that taught by moralists, a blend of bravery, intellect, boldness, and discipline. It requires acting with composure when the situation demands, and recognizing that at times projecting harshness is the only means of preserving stability, not through cruelty, but through prudence. As he once wrote, "A man who wishes to act in all circumstances like a good man is doomed to ruin among so many who are not good." You recognize this truth because you have lived it. You attempted to act honorably in every context, yet what was your reward? Mistreatment, neglect, and injustice. Human beings rarely act fairly, and if you persist in behaving as though they do, defeat will remain inevitable. This does not require discarding your values. Rather, it demands that you cease treating them as chains. It is about exercising power and becoming aware of how others perceive and exploit your virtue. Machiavelli was not a cynic, but a realist. He viewed humanity without illusions or idealization. And his work, The Prince, served as a guide for survival in a world where appearances hold power and where weakness masquerading as virtue leads to destruction. At this point, you may be asking whether balance is possible. How can one shed naivety without turning ruthless or malicious? The following discussion challenges the false dichotomy that your options are limited to being either kind or cruel. A third path exists, beginning with the courage to stop deceiving oneself. A destructive misconception ruins countless lives, the belief that goodness requires submission. According to this view, being a good person means silently enduring, forgiving unconditionally, and suppressing grievances for the sake of peace. Yet this is not genuine kindness. It is naivete, cowardice presented as virtue. Failure to grasp this distinction ensures that you remain an emotional doormat for others. Authentic kindness does not demand self-erasure, but instead requires awareness, discernment, and deliberate choice. Goodness is not equivalent to being a naive optimist, constantly available, unfailingly cheerful, and endlessly sacrificing for people who would never reciprocate. Such behavior amounts to self-abandonment and emotional dependency concealed beneath the mask of morality. Naivety assumes that others will respond with the same sincerity you offer. It presumes the world operates fairly, and that integrity will naturally be acknowledged. It expects gratitude, reciprocity, and thoughtfulness. Yet this belief leads only to frustration and disappointment, for it projects onto others a nobility that in reality does not exist. Genuine kindness differs greatly. It is firm and decisive. It recognizes the importance of saying no, of walking away, and of understanding that not everyone is worthy of your best. To give your finest efforts to those who cannot or will not reciprocate is not generosity, it is wastefulness. It is entirely possible to be just, compassionate, and principled, while also commanding fear and respect. You can embody presence and authority by clearly defining what you will and will not accept. Though Machiavelli may appear harsh from a modern perspective, he did not reject virtue. He rejected naivety. He understood that in a predatory world, kindness without strength is nothing more than prey awaiting its fate. The essential question becomes, is your kindness serving as protection or leaving you vulnerable? Is it a source of strength or a cause of destruction? If your concept of goodness means enduring injustice, accepting scraps, and condemning yourself for experiencing anger, then you are not being virtuous. You are being subjugated. Have you ever mistaken submission for kindness? Comment 1. If you've caught yourself staying silent to keep the peace. Comment 2. If you've learned that true kindness sometimes means saying no. Yet there is a remedy. A point of equilibrium exists where you need not abandon your essence, nor must you bow before others. At this point, you act with courage, clarity, and emotional intelligence. In the following section, we will examine this path in detail. The discussion will center on how to stop being merely nice without descending into malice, enabling you to reclaim control of your life without betraying yourself. If restoring self-respect is your aim, this marks the beginning of that transformation. Many who become aware of their own submission make a critical mistake. They assume the only way to escape being overly nice is to grow cold, unfeeling, and nearly cruel. This is the well-known rebound effect. After enduring years of exploitation, one may conclude that the only solution is to become the opposite, harsh, detached, calculating. Yet this too is a trap. By abandoning your true essence, you are not becoming stronger. You are merely shielding yourself through denial. This is not liberation, but trauma disguised as strength. Genuine freedom arises when you learn to embrace your wholeness. It begins when you cease living solely for others and begin living for yourself. The choice is not between good or bad, but between falsehood and authenticity. It means looking in the mirror and affirming you may remain kind, but you will never again be passive. You may remain compassionate, but never again permissive. You may still offer a hand, but you will not plead for recognition. So, how does one stop being merely nice without betraying their essence? The first step is realizing that your voice has value. Society may have conditioned you to see complaining, asserting boundaries, or expressing disagreement as selfish. Yet that is a falsehood. True selfishness lies in expecting you to remain silent while others dominate. Raising your voice, standing firm, and declaring, "I do not accept," this is not selfishness, it is dignity and self-respect. The second step is practicing the art of saying no. Refusal is one of the most freeing actions a person can take. It does not require hostility or raised voices. A steady calm and uncompromising no carries more authority than endless explanations. It communicates a vital truth: you have limits. And those with limits earn respect, while those without are inevitably exploited. The third step is to notice who resents your transformation. Such individuals serve as a measure of your growth. If asserting yourself leads them to accuse you of being different, odd, or selfish, it is only because your submission once benefited them. By changing, you disrupt the unspoken agreement that enabled their exploitation. Though it unsettles them, this discomfort signals genuine progress. Fourth, release the need to be understood by all. Some will never grasp your transformation, and that is acceptable. You owe no loyalty to the version of yourself that others have imagined. Your loyalty belongs to your truth, your peace, and your emotional well-being. Fifth, trade the craving for acceptance for a commitment to authenticity. Acting in alignment with your true self may alienate some, but it draws the respect of those who genuinely matter. More importantly, it nurtures your own self-respect, the one form of respect that cannot be taken from you. Machiavelli's intention was never to instruct in cruelty, but to dismantle naivety. The most dangerous illusion is believing that mere niceness is sufficient to gain respect in this world. It is not. Abandoning the role of the pleaser requires courage, and embracing your true self without seeking permission demands strength. Yet the journey is not complete. For now comes the decisive moment, the choice between persisting in self-sabotage or seizing control of your life. In the final section, we will close with a blunt, necessary challenge to recognize that your obsession with goodness may be costing you everything. The time has come to decide, do you seek to be loved or do you seek to be free? It is time for absolute honesty. How much longer will you cling to the role of the nice guy? How long will you drain your energy, silence your voice, and surrender your dignity simply to preserve an image that is not even your own, but rather one imposed by others? Do you truly mistake this for virtue, for nobility? It is not. It is a prison, psychological and emotional, a cage adorned with shallow praise where you are celebrated only for being harmless, predictable, and non-threatening. Let me tell you what few may dare to say. No one is coming to release you. No one will arrive to thank you for your sacrifices, grant you the respect you deserve, and declare that you may finally rest. That moment will never come. As long as you remain willing to be exploited, there will always be those ready to exploit you. This is not cruelty. It is reality. And reality does not yield to good intentions. You may persist in embodying society's ideal of a good person, calm, patient, endlessly understanding, perpetually available, and unfailingly agreeable. But if you do prepare yourself for a future marked by frustration, bitterness, and invisibility, or you can awaken, you can decide here and now that your kindness will cease to be a collar restraining you. You can choose to act with intention, presence, and firmness. You can decide when and to whom you will extend generosity. You can refuse to give what you do not also receive. You can stop chasing others' approval, like a dog begging for scraps of affection. The truth is straightforward. The world grants respect only to those who respect themselves. True freedom begins the moment you stop asking permission to exist. So I ask, when was the last time you said no without guilt? When did you last put yourself first? When did you last act for your own sake, without worrying about others' reactions? Share your answer. Tell me the moment you discovered that being nice was your undoing. This conversation must continue, for countless others remain trapped in the same prison. And you might be the spark that awakens them. If this message has caused you to reevaluate how you live, act, and view yourself, then the next step is essential. Watch the following video. Trust me, it matters. This journey has only just begun. Everyone eventually faces the choice between remaining the overly nice person or living true to themselves. Comment 1. If you are determined to reclaim your voice and self-respect. Comment 2. If you are still struggling but ready to take the first step.